Do a call to order. Open session public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded. All right, so we have up tonight the budget for the Board of Health.
Why don't we start with the animal inspector?
Animal Inspector.
249.
249 it is, June?
Yep.
And that was really just a COLA. Increase. And Paul McCulloch would have been here with me, but he now has COVID. Along with Stan, who has COVID.
You can get anything at the transfer station these days, can't you?
I am the last person standing at this point, so now I am now on transfer station duty as well.
Oh, dear.
You're the boss.
Guess if Stan didn't move over to the transfer station, I guess Finance Committee wouldn't be meeting. We'd probably all have COVID. So,
Well, he is, from what I've seen, he's just a great person to work with. So. Okay, any questions on the animal inspector?
not for me, anybody else?
No.
Okay.
Okay, next we have Board of Health.
What number is that one?
That one is 510. And that is again just a COLA increase.
You have any questions, anybody?
They're all looking like, All right, and the next one would be the Neshoba Associated Boards of Health. I don't remember the numbers.
511.
And I must have I had to revise them, and I think I ate the originals. I don't know what
Or I misfiled them.
I know I did it. And the reason I had to redo it is because we initially had budgeted 5% because that's what they've been typically charging. And then I got this letter dated January 18th saying they had increased the rate to 7.5%. We don't really have any control over that, but I can just tell you that we're doing more and more and more than, and weird stuff too. You know, Billy's, we've got a housing condemnation, or we have to figure out which housing court we go to now because of a hoarding situation. We've been asked to, you know, chase after drones and identify them, you know, rodent problems, you name it. I mean, daycare, issues at the local daycare, immigrant housing, that they were at the old Chinese restaurant, the Japanese restaurant. We're dealing with that. I mean, it's been issues, you know, kind of out of the realm of the Board of Health, but Bill Brookings has been helping us and weighing in on all of these things, at least pointing us in the right direction.
And he's with the Neshoba Health?
He's with the Neshoba.
Okay.
He leaves, I leave.
Sue, is that 7.5% across all the towns that participate in the Neshoba, or is it the same amount for all towns, do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So they don't look at what your population is, or?
Well, they reassessed about 2 years ago, and they based all the assessments based on
Okay,
population
okay.
and everything else. And you know, typically they hadn't raised their rates in like 11 or 12 years, and then they started hitting us with this 5%
Yeah.
per year to kind of play catch up. Only this year it was 7.5%.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, good.
What else?
And I will resubmit the updated paperwork. And that brings us to the transfer station.
433.
433.
Now, June asked me why the wages went up a little bit, and depending on how the holiday falls, whether it falls on a day that we're open or closed, or, there's a complicated pay schedule for someone who works part-time and who gets benefits. And I have a formula which I detail out in what I submit. I count every holiday, and make sure I've got every sick hours covered, vacations, snow days, like, if we have to bring in extra help to shovel, which I will be doing tomorrow. And the rest of it's just, and I kind of dropped my crystal ball and broke it. But I even brought the bills in case you guys want to look at them. It's, cardboard market dropped out. Second week in November, we stopped getting paid for cardboard. They're not charging us for it, but we're not getting any revenue coming in. The markets just fluctuate. In the past 6 months, we have paid $6,600 for a diesel fuel recovery charge. I mean, and our contract is basically market price.
So our contractors added on diesel recovery, and it's a total of $6,600
So far, over 6 months.
In the first 6 months of the contract, it's been $6,600.
And again, you want your trash to go away? But I'm saving payroll because we've been down there doing it for the last month for free. It's, we're using the opportunity with new staff, or trying to get a new staff on board, to review how things work down there and make sure what we've been told is true. And we're learning, and we're really pushing for a re-education of the town on what they can recycle and what they can't. And we're already starting to see a difference. But that means standing out there when they're dumping their recyclables. And then next year, it's very hard to get people to come in and apply for a job, because we're barely paying them over minimum wage. And I think if I get my second person, they actually show up, they interview, but then they haven't turned in the job application.
So for this year, how are you doing for budget? Was that $6,600 even budgeted for?
I got it covered.
No, it wasn't budgeted.
It wasn't
It
budgeted
wasn't
for?
budgeted, but was saving on other things, so.
Okay, and how about the cardboard? How much revenue is that typically bringing in? Do you have a general idea?
I don't, because it all rolls into one big pot.
Hang on a minute, Scott. It's here for last
Yeah,
year.
it's here in the last.
Well, it is in
Revenue sources.
But, we've seen the cardboard market bottom drop out before, and then they can start back up. Again, it's like ordering lobster in a restaurant. You really don't know until you get your bill what it's going to be. I am concerned, though, for next year, and we're still discussing, it's possible that when Phil Wilbur stops doing his trash runs, he's, I guess, retiring in June, that's about 100 customers that would normally buy a transfer station sticker in order to use his service. And so those people could either come back, stay with the transfer station and just bring their own trash to us, or they could go with a private hauler. How many people are we gonna lose? We look at the transfer station sticker as revenue, and how much of that we're gonna lose, I don't know, because we just found out that he's gonna stop in June about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we're trying to figure out how to replace that. But we're considering a new revenue stream by figuring out how to get all those recyclable cans and turn them in ourselves and bring that revenue to the town. We figure that could be possible about $10,000 a year. So we're looking at that. We're also looking at charging,
So you'd have to have a separate place for cans, or has there always, I'm sorry, but we're one of those people that use a private company, so I don't know anything
well, I
about the
think
transfer station. So.
the cans were just evaporating into thin air.
So there's a place where you recycle your cans separately
There's a
from
metal-
regular, like Campbell soup cans, or?
Right, in
Okay,
Milford.
just a question.
We found out there is a recyclable. Eddie Bradley, who we've just made an offer to, is going to work part-time on Saturdays. It says he is going to set us up and train us well so that we can recycle everything and get the maximum source. We're also going to, we're looking at charging the outside haulers an annual fee. Other towns do this. And whether it's $100 or $500 per, like Waste Management and all the other trucks you see around. So we're trying to look at that. We've been very, very busy. It's just taking us a while between trying to interview, chase people to get their paperwork in, which, just want to slap people.
How's
That was
that-
all right. Say it directly to the camera.
How's that work of charging the outside haulers? I mean, are they bringing things to this transfer station, or?
No, but they're
What's it-
going around, coming through the town now, and they don't pay the town a fee to do business in the town, which is, like whoever
Yeah.
she uses. They should be, in other towns, you have to pay a fee in order to operate within the town limits. And so Mary Arata clued me up to that, and we started talking about it, and we're trying to make a list of all the outside haulers that we see come through, and then we thought maybe that's a possible revenue source. We try to look at what could come and bite us in the butt, where could we make up the difference, and there's also a new thing in town, a state mandate that we have to recycle all mattresses and textiles. But, and I haven't hit up anybody yet, we're finding a lot of mattresses are being dumped on the side of the road.
I was afraid that was gonna happen.
And I don't know if we should do a separate line item or something, because why should the people who actually buy transfer station stickers in order to use the transfer station have to now pay for these extra mattresses? And there's been about 8 or 9 so far. And we have to pay our mattress recycler $25 or $30, somewhere in there, and we're charging our residents $35.
And we don't even know if those mattresses are coming from people within town.
Right, but why should the people who use the transfer station have to take on that, so I look at that, I look at my expenses, how much do I raise the ticket prices to cover the expenses? We'd like to stay
Okay.
flat.
So the state mandate, did that begin with July 1st or something
That
like
began November 1st.
November 1st? And
yeah.
since November 1st, we've had
Yes.
8 or 9 mattresses just...
The highway department picks them up and brings them to the transfer station, and we're left holding the bag.
I know, but are these the new hires?
And before, we were just taking them, they would just take them as trash at the transfer station?
Pardon?
The mattresses would be just taken as trash to the transfer station before? No.
But the
Okay.
state says you can't do that, so you have to have a special place to take them, and we found that vendor. And we have to pay someone to haul them to the vendor. Now, we've ordered a new container. We got a state grant for $10,000, and the container's gonna cost us about 12. So I gotta come up with that money, but I'll be out there with my tin can. And then we have to pay them to have them hauled there, and they take all the mattresses apart and recycle them.
Do they take the mattresses in any state, or do they have like restrictions on like how soiled they are? And
They take them in. If they're too soiled, I have a special form I have submit with the mattress, and I guess maybe I could put that in the trash. I don't know, but we are required.
but basically, any mattress in any state just goes in that container and goes off to the.
Yep.
Because I think with the textiles, they had this addendum that like if it was soiled in some way, it wasn't supposed to go into the textile recycling?
We're just trying to keep up with, just keeping up with recycling. They
Yeah.
keep, depending on who you call, they change the rules.
Mhm.
And we're trying to keep up with all that. And Paul and I just looked at all of this as a blank slate.
Mhm.
So we're asking lots of questions. We're calling the state. We're asking, getting as much information as we can. We want to make things better. We'd like not to raise any prices.
Yeah, what is the current price, I was supposed to say, for a dump sticker, I'm sorry?
It's, if you buy it in July to August 15th, it's $195, and then I think it goes up to $225. And I forget what the senior rate is. If you're over 70, you get a discount.
And it is on the website.
And a
on
discount
the
for more
website.
than one in a household, is that another thing? Second car, or whatever you call it, I think.
A
there's
second
discount.
car fee is $30. And then we have all sorts of prices for things like white goods and removing Freon and propane tanks and
Air
large
conditioning.
chairs and dressers and everybody gets the receipt and we track all that.
Scott, I don't, I didn't have any notes from last year on what was broken down on the cardboard and the stuff. All I have is the sticker receipts.
I'm usually pretty good with my revenue, and June's taught me that even though I think I'm going to bring in more, you back it down a little bit just
Yeah.
in case, because June said she'd come after me to come up with the
It's not
difference.
quite how I work.
Yeah, this is the. So I think
Right.
that's pretty much stickers.
And to answer, I heard somebody ask about payroll. People left, we're paying them in the same pay range. Everything was all budgeted, so there should be no difference, other than the few weeks we haven't paid anyone.
And well, the other question I had was, you mentioned, going back a little bit, mentioned this, what Paul Woolworth is retiring or that stuff.
Phil.
Or Phil Woolworth. And you said he was, and I'm not quite sure the connection
Hudson.
here of the
Hudson Disposal.
possible impact on revenue.
Hudson Disposal, all his
Yeah.
customers are within Berlin. They're required to buy a transfer station sticker
All of his customers.
before they can
okay.
even use his service. And he's, we track that, he tracks that, he makes sure that everyone has a sticker, or he won't pick up your trash. But if he's retiring, those people, A, have to bring their own trash to the dump, or they use an outside service. So there is that possible, about 100 people. And I used to be Phil's bookkeeper a few years back, so I know kind of pretty much how many customers he had. And so I'm concerned where those people are gonna go.
Okay, so this is unique with his service of that each
He
of his
was
customers.
He was grandfathered in from Matthew Trucking, who was doing it when I moved to town.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen there, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe we could lose 50 customers. Maybe everybody will say, that's so expensive on the outside, we'll bring our trash to the dump. But who knows?
Okay. All right, anybody else have any other questions? All
No.
right,
Very good.
That it?
You want more?
No, it was just so fast,
I'm sorry.
no, fabulous, thank you.
I mean, I could show you what we've spent with each of our vendors by month. I can show you bills. I can even show you the recycling and solid waste survey that we have to do.
I'm good.
Other than that, was it the public, what do you call those data requests that,
For the COVID?
no, not COVID.
Freedom of information? No.
Yeah, we get a lot of, I call them phishing scams.
Yeah.
People, We want to know how much you've spent
Oh,
hauling your
request.
trash away, and who's your vendor, and, you know, when is your contract? They're just fishing, but we have to respond within 10 business days. And, you know, we used to get one, whether it was wells or septics or whatever, one request a year. Now we're getting 5 a month. It's a lot of paperwork.
Are they the common type of requests where you could just put it out and have it on the webpage and here it is?
No, if you get a public data request, you must respond personally to them within 10 business days.
If they're asking for the same information, you can post it on the webpage, because I learned that
Oh,
when I was having requests for the same information, and I just posted it on the webpage and just directed them to the
well,
webpage.
when we did the well testing, the PFAS testing, we got like 7 of those, and they were all from attorneys. Because they wanted to know if you have PFAS, maybe we can sue somebody.
Well, that I think you could say, go to our website. You could have a standard
But,
letter that says email, whatever, right?
Yeah.
but they wanted to know the names and the addresses of
Yeah.
people with PFAS, so you have to be careful with your data.
Oh, yeah, you can't get confidential stuff
But the Board of Health will be happy to share any and all of our bills and our information with you. Because they're all smarter than I am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Drive carefully.
like that.
I will, it's too much coffee today.
Uh-oh.
The kids are on vacation this week if you need help shoveling, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't know if I should give you my number, but I could.
No, I got my husband.
Oh,
Paul made me promise to have my husband come down and babysit me while I'm at the dock, because Paul doesn't want a female down there alone.
Oh, that was,
And so I had David down in the hut.
Well, if you need anything, just call me.
yeah.
And it's like, you know, I don't think I'm driving people insane with my good looks or whatever. They don't want to come and steal me away, but make Paul feel better. So I said, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that will.
Good night,
Thank you, Sue.
Good night.
See you later.
Julie, that was very nice offering.
yeah, right?
Thank you.
I don't know how. I don't even. Yeah. I don't know how to get in touch with her. I don't even know who that is. But. Right? Kids would be down there in a second. Shovel that right out.
I don't know how
Does it
much
get
we're supposed to
plowed?
get either.
It doesn't sound like we're supposed to
Yeah.
get a lot.
I think it's like
just
an
gonna
inch.
turn to ice.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's
icy.
where we're gonna.
Yeah, I think it's going to be unpleasant snow,
It'll
not
be
the.
the town going
I'd
in
rather
there
have
sanding
tons of
and.
snow versus.
Yeah, exactly.
Same.
Yeah.
It's so dangerous.
All right, next up, recreation.
All right, guys. Here we are again. Another year.
Weren't you just here? Or
Yes,
did
that's
I
your
have it?
school committee.
Oh, this will be a lot more fun.
Different
Yeah,
hat.
yeah.
Different hat today.
It's so interesting now, the school, there's so much there to learn, right? When you start unpacking all the special ed stuff.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so, you have it in front of you, what we've asked for. Oh, look at
6:30?
that, there it is. Yep, 14, yep, good. Okay, perfect.
What does that first line say? Underfunded recreation? Is that a smiley face or a thing, or an
that's
unhappy
what I'll-
face?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So we were here last year. I mean, this I wrote with the request increase. We're just reaching a point where the town's growing, as we know, and we have to start to look at recreation, I think, differently in terms of it becoming a self-sustaining program, and we can do that. But in order to do that, it needs to start to be funded in some capacity. And I spoke with Kristen about this, and she suggested maybe we start it as a very basic part-time position, 8 hours, 10 hours, something like that. I spoke with the woman that runs the Northborough Rec Department, and she's completely self-sustaining, her salary, her assistant's salary, and it took years to build up to that. She said, but what we have going on here having volunteers just continue to run the recreation committee, it will never grow into what we want it to grow into, which is just programming, like the charter says in that first paragraph I wrote in my annual town report. We're supposed to be providing programming for community members, everyone. It's not just sports. I think sometimes sports just gets looped into rec, but there's so many other wonderful programs that can be given to our community members. But we don't have a location to do that, and we don't have the funding to do that. So what we have listed here, that's just a very basic many facilities job that we do. That probably we can, I remember last year it was robbing Peter to pay Paul. We could still assume these. I don't think these is necessarily outside of our realm if we're doing what we should be doing. And year over year, we're just not.
Well, they're out of your realm if you're gonna go by your charter.
Well, yeah,
So let's just put that out there so people understand. If you look at the charter
yeah.
and what rec was designed for, those 1, 2, 3, 4 items were
Right.
not part of the charter. So I
Right.
think we need to re-educate people as to what the charter is. And I am all for going back to how rec was and not, as you have put it, goose patrol.
Well, I
So-
agree, Jan. I agree.
And I just feel badly because the rec department has just gotten, in personal opinion, not finance committee, a bad rap over the last few years. And I think you're absolutely right. It has to get back to what it was supposed to be
Yeah.
and why it was created.
Right.
So kudos to you for doing
Yeah.
this.
And I wrote that, I'll spend this next year. I mean, the rec director of Northborough, she offered to come speak to, this board and to speak to the select board and how she did it, because she built it from ground up and it's thriving there. Our residents go there for rec programs. But we're just at a point where, as she put it, we are the only rec committee around that is not funded with some sort of director or part-time director, or even in Boylston, they have an administrative assistant that handles all of this stuff. So when the committee meets, they can talk about programming, they can talk about projects, and then she funnels all of that stuff. But right now, we can't even sustain a committee because it is just, it's just volunteers that are also coaching basketball or soccer, running the soccer program, working at, doing the food pantry. It's just, as you guys probably know, that I'm sure you had your time in that too. But we just want to be able to give to the residents what they should get from recreation.
And I think last year you had brought that up, and I think the Finance Committee and Select Board agreed to that. That
Yes.
it really did need to be relooked at, and I thought we were gonna work on programming for this year. But with Margaret
Yeah.
also change over to Kristen.
Yeah.
I think delayed it a little bit longer than it probably should have, but
Sure.
I think that was definitely discussed, and I know Kristen had mentioned something about you talking to her about seeing about what the director's position would be so they can run it through personnel. And
Yeah.
so I don't think that was really an argument last year.
No.
I think it was just a matter of tweaking it as far as who was going to oversee this stuff and then what type of programming you actually wanted to do.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, that all's fine. Yeah, I agree. I just think the person who is sharing it, it's not necessarily me, whoever gets this role, is paid to do it so that they can, devote that time to do such a significant job. Like our council on aging director, right? There's that person. It's just.
I don't see any money in here for programming. I mean,
No.
how are you gonna start to even get on the tier 1 to start programming? We're only funding
It's just maintenance.
everything that's not part of the charter. So I mean, to me, in order to even start, you need to have a budget to at least try programming.
Do you have the charter? Because I haven't seen it.
Oh,
It's
we
to
gave it out
fulfill.
last year. I did.
Yeah.
I sent
Well,
it to everybody.
I don't know
have
what
it.
it says, and I don't know whether.
It's to fulfill,
It's on the website, Mary. If you
Well-
go to my town government, you can read it.
I have it, I just.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll try to put it up. You can put it
It's not Town of Berlin, it's my
up. It's
town
I
government.
meant Town of Berlin, yes.
Town of Berlin.
So are you expecting to, working with the select board to submit a budget this year that does have funding for things outside of the standard expenses?
No.
that
We're gonna submit the standard expenses, and I'm gonna work with Allison from Northborough and Kristen, because we have to come up with, there is no job description for a part-time rec director, that's something outside of my realm. But in terms of what, I would prefer to get community input on what kind of programming people would prefer to see here in town. I can use the footprint that she has, which she offered for me to use, and just mirror that for our town. But towns are so different with, community needs and things like that. So I would rather poll the community, find out, what this population would like to see and what this population would like to see, and then target programmings that speak to that. I know the budget is really tight this year because I was here last week with the school committee. And so when I submitted this,
Oh, right here.
it is what it is right now, and it is what it was last year too, and the year before, and the year before, and we're just a facilities, mini facilities.
Can you see
Find,
it?
oh, great, that's perfect. Yeah, that first paragraph, that's it.
Yeah, I'm not, it's not under Town of Berlin, it must be in the other
It
part.
actually is if you go to the Town of Berlin webpage, and if you click on it right here.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, more information can be found here, yeah, because I can't read that screen.
There's
I
two
can read it.
programs we
Go
run.
back to it, I'll read it. It says, "The charter of the Recreation Committee."
It's okay,
is to-
Janet,
Oh,
I've
you
got
can
it in
read
front of me, I got it
Oh,
in front of
great,
me, yeah.
Okay.
I read better than I listen.
And I don't know where this got lost, that we started taking over facilities. I don't know. When I came on, this is what we were doing.
Do we know how old this charter, when it was first established?
2017?
Well, actually, it's
No,
from
it
the
was prior
town
even
report
to
of
that.
2017.
This was my report. I think I wrote this.
Is this one?
Maybe Valerie wrote. No, Valerie
Oh,
wrote
yeah,
this
Valerie.
one. Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't even know where
That's
you would
part of
find
the
that.
report.
So-
No, it's on the website.
So basically, it's been a long time, basically.
been-
yeah.
We probably don't
So-
have the legacy of
Yeah.
knowing, institutional knowledge has been lost, probably.
Right.
where
So
it came
Rob
from.
McKay was on it.
Right.
Tammy, Greg Kremling,
Yeah.
Valerie Muldoon, you.
Yeah. And that charter was there even before Greg.
Yeah, okay.
That charter was
I
voted
mean, even
on at
before
town
Before Rob?
meeting
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah. So
Janet, you might even.
I'm trying to understand, Julie, what the, not just sports, that's fine. So we've got this talks about runs, cornhole tournament, South Commons, and various youth soccer, right? So it is pretty heavy on the sports, but your expenses that we're looking at right now for this fiscal '24 is all about taking care of South Commons, yeah?
Correct.
Okay,
That's where the
so,
sports take place.
and this is what we talked about last year, so that is really a town facility. It's not a building, but it's town facility.
Correct.
So the money that's in there really doesn't belong in a recreation budget, and I think we said that last year,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So, has anybody from recreation talked to Fred Cummings?
Well, Fred actually took on the trash.
There you go, you have talked,
So
okay,
yes.
fabulous, right.
We spoke with him a year ago. I don't even know if that's necessarily something that he wants to continue doing or he's just doing because
Well, he's been shorthanded,
nice.
yeah.
Right, I know.
But
I mean, he helps in any capacity he can with rec. He really does.
and I think they just hired, right? They filled that
Yeah.
open
Yeah,
position?
said
Didn't he say that
all
last
of
week?
the, yeah, positions are, except for a clerk. Yep.
So, right,
So
except for clerk.
we did, it's just baby steps because if it doesn't come from this rec budget, it comes from somewhere. So
Yeah, it has to be put in Fred's or.
Right.
So Julie, I want to get to that piece. So the
Yeah.
the CPA buckets,
yeah,
okay? So, so conservation recreation is the one bucket.
sure.
But the other thing that comes with CPA is
Town
mandated funds to administer the funds.
Say that, yeah.
So there's somebody I
I knew
understand who's been
Valerie
hired
told me.
Correct.
part-time. Now, some of the needs, and Kristen isn't here, so she'll probably whack me for saying these things, right? No, she won't. That the person, the person who's pointed at CPA, in theory, could be pointed, at least for an interim period, at doing some of this, what the Recreation Committee is doing.
In terms
That's,
of this.
in terms of about funding and administrative
Administrative
kind of stuff, yeah. Because, and particularly if you've got a project that's being CPA funded, but just in general, it's a function that the CPA is looking at, is recreation and conservation, right? Those two together.
Certainly, yes.
So,
Yeah, it's for projects though only, it can't.
But that's
do
the problem.
maintenance.
It's not maintenance.
Yeah.
CPA money isn't maintenance.
understood.
Yeah.
But some of the other, and actually, there's money that's been spent, isn't there? Isn't that where is that where the scoreboard came from? I can't remember, Janet. The scoreboard
Yes,
came
CPA,
from that, yeah.
Because that's enhancing a playing field, which falls under the CPA guidelines.
Right. So somebody working in administering CPA funds wouldn't be available to do the kinds of routine, probably.
I don't think.
I'm just exploring,
Sure,
yeah.
no, I think it's a good suggestion.
Town clerk.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I remember having a conversation with someone and they thought about maybe there's just someone in the town offices that becomes that administrative person for all the departments. I said, I
The
don't.
general bylaws.
We have a gap.
I don't.
You're
Yeah.
not the only gap. Yeah, we have a gap.
Yeah, there's gaps, right.
And
I
it's
just-
12.
It just seems like recreation doesn't get the footage that it needs in this town. I don't think since I've been here it's had it, but now with we need programming. We just need programming. We need cooking classes and card nights and things for people to be social and out doing, especially post-pandemic. More so now than ever, I think. And I think when people think about recreation, they think about, oh my gosh, South Commons is littered with kids running around, there's sports, but it's not just sports, And I'm a sports family, but there's so much more to recreation.
You can probably correct me, but in '75, it became a bylaw in town, but that was well after, I think it became a bylaw because they were doing so much programming in town for the youth that they wanted to get it more formalized, because I graduated in 1980, and as a young child, like a late elementary, early middle school, we had a summer program.
Yeah, right.
Where we get up and we came to the school from like 9 to 12 or 8 to 12 every day, maybe 4 days a week, maybe it wasn't Fridays, and there was programming. We did a slew of things.
Sure. And high school kids worked it probably, so they did work.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then it was so busy that then this evolved, and then it stayed pretty busy
Off and on. I
off and
think.
on, and then it
Yeah.
kind of
Yep.
became more of what you're doing now.
Yeah. And it's just not, it just needs to be self-sustaining. This is what Ally was explaining to me, and you have to start with something. You have to start with something from the town, and then build from there.
Well, I think we had to pay to go to the
Well, exactly right,
summer
yes.
programming. It wasn't
Right.
a lot, but
Right, yeah.
yeah, you had to pay to go to it.
I don't
And we
know.
did field trips and stuff like that.
I don't
I
know
can't
when
remember
it-
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know when it was that we set up for the revolving account, because that's what the revolving account was set up for way back when, was so that we could do programs, money would go in, and then it would go back
Money
onto
goes out.
programs.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of what group you have in the volunteer, which we
Right,
know how
right.
that doesn't work as well as it used to work, but
I know.
I hate to admit that, but it's the truth.
No, it is, it's the truth, yeah.
Because, but I think that's what it was, is it depends on what people are willing to donate of their time, I think, to create programs. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that I think the town in general is willing to put money towards it. Unfortunately, though, you have to have a budget of what you're gonna program.
Oh, sure, that
So I
makes
think
sense.
so I understand what you're saying as far as, having a director come in and do the programming, because it's a lot of work, contracts, all that kind of good
Yeah.
stuff. But unfortunately, you have to start somewhere with money. So somebody has to come up with and say, okay, we want to do this, this, and this, and it's going to cost X, Y, and Z, and then you can get a budget for it. But unfortunately, until you have a plan, we can't put money towards it, I guess.
No, I see what you're saying, yeah.
So it's kind of like even getting a director's position. You have to have a job description, you have to figure out how much is it gonna cost, and then
Right.
what their job is gonna consist of, and so it's a matter of process, I think.
Sure, I get what you're saying. So then who would that fall on to do? Me? Okay.
Well,
So-
you as rec would come up with a program that you wanna do or do for the year.
Yeah.
So Julie, you just kind of, two things, you just kind of make it up. All right, so now we've got this septic. Well, budgets are
Yeah.
visionary, they're not reality, okay?
Okay, yeah,
Revenues tend to be more reality, I think, but
Okay.
the rest of it. So right now we got the septic, the geese, the mulch,
Yeah.
and the lawn care. Well, that's all very nice. But other expenses, meetings. Well, let's say you were gonna use the 1870 town hall for a monthly card tournament of blank. Get some adults out on a Friday night or
Yeah.
kids or whatever, right? Okay. So what would that cost? Well, you want to buy
Tables, cards.
you want to buy a little bit of expense for that. You want to buy some coffee, some soft drinks, whatever you want to, whatever you want to bring in. So you got the building, and I don't know if the town would make the rec committee
No, we
pay
don't.
rent for the building. Okay, so plan a night. That's a meeting, right? I'm looking at the expense form, and there's
Yeah.
other expenses, travel dues, meetings, and so on, and then there's those kinds of things, and just put it on this form, and bring it in and say, okay, this year we're going to have a card night on the second Friday of the month at 1870 Town Hall, and this is, we need to buy blah, 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 napkins, cups, whatever. And
Okay.
just back of the envelope, do it. So
Bill-
that we're not just doing lawn care, right? And then,
Sure.
because June's exactly right. You have to tell us. We can't say, oh, here, Julie, here, have some money. We can't
Sure.
do that.
No, I
You
get
have
that.
to say-
So you could also like,
So you want me to build the rec programming?
No, just
Well, no,
just
just
start
do,
it.
like,
Just one
Stop.
thing.
One thing.
One thing. Just do one thing that isn't lawn care, and put it on June's form.
But it's just, and I'm just gonna use this as an example because it comes to mind really quickly, is say you wanna do like the classes that you do
Yeah.
now. Yoga, you're gonna do yoga, or
Yeah.
meditation classes
Yeah.
once a month. Well, what's it gonna cost you to have somebody come in?
Right.
Do you need any special mats
Yeah.
or whatever? That would be the program, if you were gonna be in
Right.
charge. You could also say, I don't know, of course, I'm now really reaching, but let's just say you're gonna have a crystal bowl healer come in and they're gonna do, how much does it cost to hire them to come in and do this program
Yeah.
twice a year or 3 times a year or whatever?
Yeah.
So that would be part of the budget. So it would be contract services with blah, blah, blah.
Julie,
Yeah.
you could ask a local yoga instructor to make a proposal to you
Right.
with costs,
Right.
and you have a venue,
Right.
right? So
Right.
just somebody else can do that paperwork if there's somebody that would bring it in,
Right.
and yeah.
And with the revolving fund that's set up, if you charge for people to come in and for the program, $10, $15,
Yeah.
$25, whatever it is, you can put that into the revolving account and then pay for another program.
Right. So, but you have to start
So
with
that would
one.
be- Right.
Right.
Start with one.
But you may have to have seed money, say for the line item budget, like you may put in $1,000 for card games and yoga classes.
well, that's what I was
or-
thinking. Maybe what she needs
Yeah.
to do is do exactly that.
Thumbnail it.
Planning for this next year, to get us up and running, we'd like to have X amount of money, and then say, game night I estimate will cost this. Cornhole tournament estimate. I mean, Boylston just had one. They probably can tell you how much it costs.
Sure.
Magic show, I called and reached out and got, this is what it's going to cost, and then come back with what June is saying, seed money, and then
Yeah.
you'd have that, and then you could do an event.
Or the Easter egg hunt. if you
Easter
wanna
egg
take
hunt,
that
yeah.
over, or Halloween, whatever. Unfortunately, in your spare time.
No, but
I know, so
that's my
that's what
point.
you're getting at here, guys.
That's my point. Make one call to a yoga instructor. Make one to right,
Yeah.
and then say, could you put it together so I can bring it to the town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Estimate of the costs. How often would you do it? What those sorts of things.
Yeah.
What would you charge people coming in to do it? And then we have something to work with that we can say, yeah, we approve this, right? But
And
we
that
can't.
would also help with the job description if you wanted a
I-
part-time
exactly.
person to do the.
Exactly.
I remember one thing we used to do,
Why-
and then
why
the
would I make
library
job
took over,
description?
was
I'm
the
so confused
babysitting
about
course.
this.
That started,
CPR course.
that started, yeah.
Well, it-
CPR and babysitting
Yeah, another
course
great
started at rec, but when rec
Yeah.
fell apart, the library took over the babysitting class, and that was American Red Cross, I believe. So you could call
Yeah.
them and say, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You could reach out to the fire department, they've got certified CPR instructors.
Yeah, they were gonna do it.
So,
That didn't-
so June's form here, this is the standard summary
Yeah.
request form, right?
Yeah, I have that.
I don't remember if it was Margaret or Kristen that did the supplemental one. Who did that?
Kristen.
Kristen did. So there's
Oh,
a,
yeah, I've seen that one.
yeah. So you have that supplemental form. Take that supplemental form, put on 8 hours part-time coordinator or 4-hour coordinator.
Well, that's a payroll thing, but yeah.
Yeah, and she explained you couldn't do that because there's no job description written up.
Yeah, you've got to do the job description
I've got to
first.
do, I'm gonna write the job description.
Then you're gonna call Northborough and you're gonna say, can I have your
Steal
job
theirs,
description
and then
for,
tweak it
Okay.
from
and then
home.
just
Yes.
tweak it.
Yes.
I'm
So you don't have to
do-
You don't have to
recreate
do
the
this.
wheel.
Yes,
Unfortunately,
exactly.
see, this is the problem that we're having. It's work. Unfortunately.
That's what I'm struggling
And I
with. I'm
get
like, so
that.
you want me
It's
to
work.
wait?
But it
We're gonna do
sounded
more
like
volunteer
for
work.
this budget,
Yeah.
because we're going to need some of this information. We don't have enough time for the position this year.
Yeah.
Correct?
Agreed.
But the other things, if you could get, maybe just even 2 of all those ideas you just got.
I could come up with a lot more.
Yeah, but you don't want all of them.
Oh,
For
right.
the budget.
You want to keep
just
it
want-
simple.
You want like a couple of things
For
that
Julie.
you know.
Okay.
Yeah, like one or
Simple.
2. Like
Okay.
the card one, the cornhole sounds like a easy one to set up. But pick a couple that are easy. They're very discreet.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to involve a lot of thinking by anybody who's going to run it.
Okay.
Because the other thing is you want these things to happen.
Right.
Because if you ask for it and it doesn't happen, the next year it's going to be like, well, you got money to do this and you didn't do it. Which is again why like picking 1 or 2 things, saying this is what we want to do.
Okay,
Movie
so that
night's
starts
easy.
What's that?
Movie night.
Yep, we did that. That was fine.
Yeah, but yeah, just pick a few that you know
Okay.
you'll get done.
Okay.
You got to pay copyright to do the movie night, and it is not very cheap
To show
We
the
just
movies.
to show the movies. Yeah,
Uh,
we're the town. Come
I
on,
know,
Julie, we're the
whoopsie.
town.
You're
I
right.
blocked-
We would look into that.
Julie,
I would look
You
into
would
that,
look- yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
19 Carter is doing it. In fact, we got a movie Thursday night, and I'm forgetting the amount we pay, but I was a
It's
bit.
exorbitant. I know, isn't it? They get
I don't.
theirs.
I'm going to say 500
Yeah. I think you can
for
pay
a public showing of a DVD.
for the year. Did you pay for the year?
I don't remember.
I bet, yeah.
So that's not
Sometimes
right
zone
now.
out.
That'll be down the road.
Down the road,
Yeah,
yeah.
but-
You get a little.
Putting that down the
Well,
road.
she could
Simple
put it
ideas,
in and
job
say,
description.
look, it's gonna cost us $500 to do that, and add that, I can
Oh,
don't have
add
the
that
money.
in.
Correct, I don't
So
have
I have
that
to
money,
really come
but
up with a well-thought-out plan.
Well,
Well, how many people do you have on the recreation committee? It's not just you.
5.
Okay, you have a full committee. So it's not just you. It's not,
So
not
we
just, you can't, you keep
each
using the eye. Yes, there's 4 others to help you, to help you
One
on this.
option.
But what's the
At least
deadline
to
for her
start.
to get the supplemental in?
ASAP.
Yesterday.
No. Well, I only suggested the supplemental if you want to start working towards a position. And Janet's exactly right. Call Northborough or somebody that
Yeah,
has
definitely.
a part-timer doing recreation, one of the towns, say, would you send me the description? They'll send it.
Clinton has a huge recreation
Yeah.
department too.
But what
But
we
see,
would
she's
want
gonna
for a
have to
description
start
would be
No, but
toned
the job
down.
description for the director is
Yeah.
kind of about basically the same. She might have to pare it down, but you
You
know.
pare it- yeah,
the-
you
the-
definitely pare it
the-
down.
The tasks, big or small, are gonna basically be the same. It's just gonna be on a smaller scale, you know?
And Kristen might be able to get you, for example, a description of that recent CPA hire. So, the tasks are very different, but you get the feel of it.
Yeah.
That's what a part-timer's description looks like, yeah?
Well, it all depends on what you want. And I think that's the thing, is where do you want to start from? You can always change it and add to it later on, too.
There's
Yeah.
a personnel committee gets involved in those descriptions too,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yeah.
know,
I just want to do programming. I just want to do programming for.
So even if it's just
That's
somebody to come in, a couple hours, 3 hours a month even, what I
Yeah.
mean, just to take something off of your plate to make it a little bit easier, or make them do other stuff so you can do fun stuff.
Right.
You could
But do you
also,
think, so let me ask you this, do you think the town would move toward a rec director?
Julie, we're only 3,000 people here, right? And I know we're getting a little bigger, but just,
You don't think?
Maybe on a part-time basis, yeah,
Yeah.
right. But we're the other towns you're mentioning are a whole lot bigger than us, exception of Boylston, what's
But we
Boylston,
also have-
5,000,
Sure.
6,000?
There's only
Still
so much money to
double.
go
So,
around.
Sure.
and you
So-
sat through the school thing, and you heard Kristen say,
Yeah.
gee, if we do what you're, I can maybe find, if I take 800,000, it's going to completely starve the town operations. That's what we're talking about right here.
Yeah.
So, and to be able to do a lot doesn't take a lot of money for something like what you're doing, but it has to come into us on these forms. The forms help June stay
was
sane,
gonna
but
say-
it needs to come into us as a request.
Don't tell people that. They'll intentionally not do it because they want to drive me insane.
No,
But you can also, though, with yours too, is where the recreation does have the revolving account. You can start small programs
Right, out of that.
out of that. So
Yeah.
like you could, if you could come up with, even if you have volunteers, somebody
Right.
sponsors something.
Yeah.
Maybe a business who's willing to throw in $100 for you to start something, and then you could charge for the program and then put it into revolving, and then, so you can start building it, and then once you have a couple of programs and see what's gonna go, then there would be more stuff that you could list and say,
Mhm.
this is what we think the town will want, this is what they'll use, they'll come in, they'll support it, and
Right.
What is the balance in the revolving today?
9, it's 9.
It's only
Talking
9,000?
about
Yeah.
that because
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 9.
it's already happened, right?
what?
Yeah, I mean, I know we're small, but I mean, people still do things, even at a small top percent, right?
yeah, and we
All right.
do need, and we do want to do that kind of thing. I just want to keep your expectations in a good place. Yeah, we're not Northborough, but
No, I know we're not Northborough, but
Are you still Julie Leamy?
yes. I think we can still, I mean, I see how many kids go.
okay, we could do
just
baby
sent you a
Northborough.
job
All right,
Swear. Oh, okay, thank you.
do baby Northborough. Think small.
Yeah. I mean, schools are, they're big now. The class sizes, they're big. There's 20 kids in a class. Those kids do something in the summer. They go to they go.
Yeah.
It's different now. You have both parents working, and it wasn't that way,
No, I
many
understand.
years ago. So these kids they're all talking about it already. Jan, your kids aren't that far removed, but where are your kids going to summer camp?
Mm-hmm.
Your children.
So is that another thing, though, that you could find people to run different
Definitely.
camps, like just say, the theme camps that seem to be very popular, like there's going to be a STEM camp, there's
For
going to be
sure, 100%.
a wizard camp,
Yeah.
And maybe something you could also look into is, just reminded me, is, okay, we're going to team up with Northborough. Maybe they'd allow, and then you somehow, build on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think we can provide, but start small, keep it simple. I get
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, find out what their popular items are.
Right.
Because obviously, like in Northborough, they'll have an advantage with their huge population. They
Right.
can have a variety of activities where if you gave that variety, you won't have enough kids going to, because they'll choose one or the other, or they don't have the time, and now all of a sudden they're all under attended. And
Right.
just a matter of what would be, whatever the kid's most popular thing is, because we know that can change from one year
Oh,
to the
sure.
next, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I'm sure they can give you some good advice, which is like the good, return some good revenue too. At the
Yeah.
same time, you'll get enough kids, they'll just cover your expenses
Right.
and move on from there.
Right, yeah. Just to be able to provide is basically it. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily, you wouldn't start, I don't think it would be self-sustaining immediately, but I think over time, you want everything to be self-sustaining, right?
Yeah, ideal world.
So
but,
sure,
yeah.
sure, but that would be the goal to get to there. And I think it could, because I think it's achievable.
I think you could, you
But I
just
like to
have
aim
to pick the programs that would do that.
Exactly right, yes.
It could just be one program that could really take you over the
Mhm.
top, and then you could do a couple of smaller ones that maybe aren't they could be free to the public versus
Right.
having to charge for this. So,
Exactly
I mean, there's a lot of
Yep.
different ways you can look at it,
Yep.
but unfortunately you have to start somewhere.
Yep.
And I think that's the whole thing, is as much as we'd love to say, okay, here's 90 grand, run with it, that
Right.
ain't happening.
Right, okay. All right.
Look at the second one I sent you.
Gosh, okay, this sounds great. This is all really great feedback.
Well, I feel badly looking at the request, especially the goose
Yeah.
part, the goose.
We talked about this last
Yeah,
year.
he's-
and
It's the same conversation. I'm having
Yeah.
Groundhog Day here.
Unfortunately,
Conversation.
Same
it's
conversation.
because of what happened within our, it
I know.
wasn't- it's unfortunate. it didn't get the attention it needed because it's low on the radar,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the-
unfortunately. But I do like the whole idea of giving her seed money to start somewhere. That was a great
Yeah, that,
suggestion.
and Kristen suggested that too. She said there needs to be seed money for a start.
But you gotta have a plan, unfortunately, because we can't just give out money. It has to actually have some sort of backup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So just one, is it too late to amend this?
Well, not until it's final. It doesn't hurt.
Give me
So
a
you,
date.
I'm
you,
off.
you
I'm so
you
good
put a
at deadline, aren't I,
post-it,
June?
you put a post-it on
I'll
this
come-
thing, right,
yeah.
that says needs to be relooked at for
That's
actual
me.
programs.
That was me.
Oh, you did that.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that was June.
That
See,
was me.
you're a good egg.
Yeah.
You're a good
Just
lady.
take credit for it, Julie. Yes, I
Okay,
see.
no, I didn't. I liked it though. I like,
We were thinking.
we were thinking. Okay, so I have to. It's okay. I'm gonna do what you suggested.
Even if it's just one program you think of that you know somebody who's willing to come in and do something and give you a price on it, and voila.
I'll probably maybe do more than one. Should cut me off with the number, because otherwise
Two.
I'm gonna reach for two.
Two
I'm
programs.
Italian. Come on, give me more than that.
6
Two
programs.
programs?
Well, you don't have much time.
Yeah.
Well, the
Right,
thing is, you
what's
don't
my
have,
deadline?
you don't
Yeah,
have a
this
lot of
was
time, you
due
have to
back
work
in
with your,
like December, so,
Oh, whoops.
yeah.
This is typical for
Personally,
us.
I'd
We're
aim
So,
gonna
so,
try.
so just to keep
6.
your attention focused, we'll give you a week.
Okay, 1
Yeah,
week. All right.
1 week.
Do I have to come back here
Yeah.
with this?
Yep.
You
yes.
definitely have to get something to Kristen so she can present it, if nothing else, and then it would be wonderful to have you come back.
All right, so I'm gonna put,
But
1 week.
we only have, what, one more week or
1
2
week.
more weeks?
I don't remember what.
It's very
We-
limited now because
Yes, it's very short. What's
We
we
the-
have-
other financial issues.
We're not meeting the 15th, so we have next week and the 8th, and then our deadline is the 22nd.
Yeah, our cutoff, absolute cutoff is 22nd. Obviously, we need something
before.
Before
You just
that.
Give me a date and I'm
What
gonna
day
come.
did you say we're not meeting?
The 15th.
Just come back in a week. Just get some information to Kristen, June, and let them edit for you, maybe, or suggest that something's right, you know.
Yeah, because
Not
the
enough.
March 1st, we're only doing.
Well, it's really about, kind of like describe the
Well, we moved
program,
the 15th
Yep.
and then,
to the,
and like if you talk to a yoga
the
person, or if you,
8th or
Oh,
if you-
yeah,
if you
yeah.
get a little bit of expense information, say, well, put $1,000 in our budget request for this year, and this is the program we're going to do, or the two programs we're going to do with that money. Whatever, something like that, right? So on the front of this,
The building department, I think.
you know,
I
you
see.
could write
I
in,
don't
you could
know,
write
I
in
was just looking for
programs, put in a number, but base it on some backup that
I'm
says,
sure.
this is the program we're going to do. And we haven't done this in recent years, we want to do this, we want to restart this, or just start something
Plumbing
new.
inspectors,
Okay.
And
Yes,
this
yeah,
such and such
yeah.
yoga instructor will come for a session in the fall and session in the
Was it
spring,
Richard
and this is how much it's going to cost.
I think
Okay,
coming, yeah.
okay.
And-
We'll also be
Do I need to
presenting-
do a supplemental form, or do
There
just
is,
add
if
to?
you go on
Your
my
page? Okay.
webpage, there's something that actually says supplemental.
Okay. And I'll fill that out, and then get it to you and Kristen quickly. And the job description? Yep.
Yeah,
Guys are making me work.
Well, you might as well get it done.
I
and-
agree.
And if it's likely not to go through this year, but then it's on the radar, and
You're
you
right, okay.
you just touch it up. So
Yeah.
instead of having the same conversation, we have a conversation, oh yeah, you gave us that, oh yeah, all right, now we're going to be serious about looking
And
at
any
it.
of the programs that you're doing too, if you think you're gonna charge for them, also add that to the,
Like the one I do now? Is that what you mean?
Everything.
technically, yes, because you're making money for recreation. So like if you're
So
going
add that to this.
so you could offset it with revenues, yeah. So like if you say
Sure.
you have a
What does that
program,
mean?
we'll work on it,
All right.
yep.
Or-
Just write down a program, just describe it.
I already
and-
have one.
Yeah, okay, and then say the cost will be this, and we'll probably charge X per person,
Yep,
if it's going to be a charge program, and then from that, you work out the revenue. And
right.
she knows how to do that, right? Yeah.
Because it'll be depending on whether the program's self-sustaining or is it gonna pay for 50% of it and the town has to supplement 50%.
Okay.
And that'll depend on how many people come out for it.
You're really good at the creative end, we'll work on the technical.
That's the part, yeah. I
Yeah.
lack in that.
And with the job description, just get what you get from
You don't
Northborough, find out what their hours are,
Yeah.
and then just start scraping out what would be the stuff you would eventually like to get to, and just keeping what would seem to be the minimum to get to, whether it's 8 hours or whatever on that.
Okay, so another part of this issue, and this will be the last thing I say, is space, right? So in Northborough, she uses the school, the elementary school. She has a partnership with the schools. We don't have that here, so we don't have a recreational space. When it's nice out, obviously we can do outdoor activities on the commons, but aside from that, there's no building for recreation to run things. We use 1870 for
Mhm.
some things.
Why can't you use the school? I'm confused.
Because we can't use it. We can use the gym. We do the gym, but not the school, because that's the school. The classrooms, I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Right. You'd have to work with the schools to get.
Sure.
Well, the
access.
cafeteria should definitely be some space you can use because.
I know
This-
John was saying it's not. He has to have a
Well,
paid.
let me just read back. The school was designed with the breakouts of entrances and exits and being able to lock down the actual school building so that the kitchen and cafeteria and gymnasiums and bathrooms could be utilized by the community. That was the big selling feature when we built that school, for those of us that were back then. And
Something happened with those interior doors because there's no
because
lock.
the interior doors, well, they do lock,
If you go into the caf, you can go right out to Judy's desk. Push them.
but they're
Out to the
supposed to
school.
be locked so that you can't. That's why
Yeah,
there's
that does-
exits.
Yeah.
So it has to be looked at because that was one
So
of
we
the
can-
selling features.
So
We can
Julie,
talk
if you
about
have a part-time rec director, what does that person need? Does that person need a desk and a chair and a
Yeah,
computer?
'cause we were gonna
What does
use-
that person need?
Everyone has their own. You can do that from their home.
Well, then why do
Really,
we?
You need to be. You need to be.
Sorry, then why do we need space? What's the point?
No, to run the programs.
Depending on the
That's,
program you have.
so, I'm gonna say the same question back to you. Why can't you run a program with a desk, a chair, a computer? And then when you're actually out doing the program, you can be in the space where the program is. Why do you need a dedicated?
Because if we were
Space.
to run a card night, we can't do it at a desk.
But the planning and the registration and all that stuff can be done here on the computer from pretty much anywhere in town property, home property, whatever.
Yeah, that can be
right?
remote.
Okay, so then when you're going to run the card night, you just move your operation to 1870 Town Hall and bring your laptop. You're all
Oh
done.
yeah, that
You're all
totally is
done,
fine.
right?
As long as then now. So is that what? Now we're talking about 1870 as recreational space. in
Well,
addition to
it's-
cultural.
Things you wouldn't do on South Commons that you might want to do indoors.
Well, right.
That's a space you could do them in.
Sure, I
Right.
agree with you, Mary. I don't
Right.
necessarily know if everybody shares that sentiment.
Yeah, I know, I understand that.
Yeah, so that's all.
That's just working with that's working with the select board. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the ones that you
Yeah.
report to them, and the
They figure
1870 reports. No, they have control over that. So you just have to work. I'm
In
sure
theory,
there's.
You could play cards in this room.
Sure.
If there's not a scheduled meeting, there's a schedule out here. You know,
Sure.
there's an online
Yeah.
schedule. Right, so there's just town hall, there's the old 1870.
Yeah.
If you're nice to people at First Parish, they'd give you the fellowship hall probably.
Yeah, I think it's a
Right.
matter of when, how often, all of that kind of stuff.
Exactly right.
Because like there's rooms here you could technically use depending on what you're doing.
That's
Is there an
true.
echo in this? There's an echo in this room.
Yeah, so she wasn't, I know what she was getting at, so that's why I'm saying that, is because it depends
Yeah.
on when and.
Right, because I know Sandra's trying to do that
Yeah.
over there, you
Yeah.
know, and I don't want to.
Right, but if it's available.
No, don't worry about that.
Yeah,
That works
no.
out. If people want to do good things, it'll happen.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
believe
say.
that too.
Yeah,
come up
just
with a
don't worry about
plan
it.
And then figure out how often you're gonna need a room and where and yeah,
Okay.
pull it all together.
Like, we're gonna do yoga Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 3 to 4. I need
Yeah.
a space.
Yep,
Yep.
That's what you need to put in your plan.
Yep.
And it's
Okay.
gonna cost X amount of money.
or you can use this one and that one for free.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's,
All right, I have work to do.
sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
And get those other 4 members to work
That's right,
with you
right?
on that.
Put it
You
in
are not the only
vacation.
one.
That's fair.
Okay.
No, not already.
Oh, yeah, this
Saturday
vacation.
at 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9, you can sit down and like, just like.
Right, that's what I'll do. Yeah. Shh, yeah, yeah. Okay, this has been great. Really informative. Thank you. That's great.
Well, we want it to happen. That's why we're doing
Yeah.
this.
I know. I appreciate your support.
But we're
I know you do.
we're
Thank you.
constrained. We can't write it for you. We can't.
I
Just
know.
make sure your job description reflects the charter, which I also emailed you.
Oh, I have it. I have it like tattooed on
Now
my
it's
back.
all in one little
No, I
packet.
know. Okay.
Actually, since you're here, Dee, can you stay just a few minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Because since you're on the school committee.
Oh, no.
No,
good.
we're trying to arrange a joint meeting with the Boylston Finance Committee. I understand on Tuesday at 6:30 is the budget hearing for the school,
I
at
think
least.
they're moving that,
Are they moving it? That, well, that's,
unless you,
if you
the
can,
28th?
it's supposed to be 28th. That's what at
Yes.
least is listed as.
Yes, I think we just got notice that they are looking to move that because there was a request that came in from someone in the town. I don't know who that was.
But you don't have a date of, is it definitely going to be
They're moving
moved?
it.
Or-
It's not posted yet. I can't see anything anymore. You're laughing, Jen. With the next one would be March 7th.
March 7th? I'm assuming that's a Tuesday also?
That's a Tuesday, yes.
And your
Um,
times are 6:30?
That's correct, yep.
And are you, do you do all virtual or is it in person?
We're in person.
In person,
Mhm.
okay. In
Unless there's
person
an
at the
emergency that
Honto?
we have to go. You have to Honto in the multipurpose room, which is right past the gymnasium
Yes.
when you walk in. And I think they are inviting the select board members to attend. I don't know if they can.
Okay, because I was in contact with, Kristen got me the chair of the Boylston Finance Committee, Eric Brose.
Mm-hmm.
So we've just been today emailing back and forth on this. So he's definitely very interested of also having their committee
That's great.
attend. And at a minimum, we're looking, well, one, we're thinking it was this Tuesday, and whether we, especially with the posting, all that stuff, whether it would be just us attending and then meeting separately. But now that we know it's March 7th,
Yes.
that gives us breathing room, and also make sure we don't have to redo our planning on this.
Right.
Okay.
I can confirm too, and just to,
We'd have to post that if we all showed. right?
Yes, well, that's,
Right.
That's what Scott's
that's the
doing.
important
He's
point here.
planning for the posting,
Yes.
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
so this
Okay.
would be, so
Thank you.
both Berlin and Boylston are going to attend the school committee.
That's what we're looking to
Okay, yeah,
to
that's
coordinate here.
You know, the town meetings are the same night, so it's a good idea if the finance committees talk to one another. It's a good idea if the towns talk to one another
Oh,
and
yeah.
try to understand what we can do.
Right, because it's regional, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me confirm with the chair that it is in fact March 7th.
March 7th and in person.
In person.
You've always been meeting in person pretty much?
Yes, we're back.
That's the standard.
Yeah, that's the standard
Yeah,
for us,
okay.
yes. And then there's certain rules to school committee meetings.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if you've ever been to them or spoken at
It's
them.
been a while. I haven't had to, well, I haven't spoken at one since I was previous in the Finance Committee back in probably 2012, so.
Okay,
Things were more informal then.
okay, yeah, it's
but,
very formal. Yeah,
Okay.
in the sense that if you want to speak, you have an opportunity in the beginning of the session during public comment to speak, but there's no discourse. You would just speak, and you speak to the chair, and then the chair would speak back if he feels like he should or needs to. But then during the budget conversation, the community that's there won't participate in any of the discussion. It's just the board. Now, Carol, and she's great, and she's warm and welcoming, and she may do things differently during that, and Mike might also welcome input from, if the finance committees are coming, there might not be any reason that he may not invite you up during the presentation. I can find out all that if you want me to find that out.
Sure, yes,
So
that'd be good to know.
Scott, if it's not possible to do a dialogue, sitting in session with the school committee, when the committee is done, the finance committees need to meet with each other.
Well,
so that we
that's-
can have the discourse.
well,
We need
that-
the discourse. That's the point of getting together.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's why, this is important here.
Yeah.
Of, coordinating this.
I know, wouldn't
and-
you make the whole idea of a meeting is so we can all discuss it, so I would think that
I know, it's the most extraordinary thing school committees.
why would we,
Attend.
why would we attend if we're not gonna be able to discuss
Sure.
it?
And they might feel the exact same way.
Julie, is this a new thing?
No. I'm
It's
telling
always
you,
been the way it
I was
has been.
floored the
Yeah.
first
Not
time.
always.
I was gonna say, yeah, it wasn't.
Well,
in
No.
the way
The
it was.
first time I sat through a school
I think it's always that's like the ruling, but they were very lax. Now they're just getting back to how it's supposed to be run.
I think, as far as I know, all school committees
Yeah,
are run
all
this
school
way.
committees give a public notice. You can also write a
Yeah.
letter. Those get read. You get that first few minutes. But unless the chair says, "Oh, I see Nurse Janet is on this call tonight. Would you like to speak towards
So-
blah 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 blah?"
So you're saying it's more for the budget hearings that you're having versus, I think, Scott, you're thinking more of just a meeting.
Well, yeah, well,
To
definitely
discuss
one thing
the
we
budget.
definitely want is the coordination with the Boylston Finance Committee, because obviously a big piece of this is understanding their financial position on this, and then likewise, obviously, coordination with the schools.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know this is, it's listed as a budget hearing.
Right.
So maybe it is just a case of, hearing what's going on there. And do you have a set time for the length of this, or is it a case?
The
that
budget
could-
hearing
yes.
itself? No, they will just present and the school committee will vote on it, whether we accept the budget or we don't.
Okay.
If you get on the agenda, though, you can speak. So maybe what we need to do is
Yeah.
you write to the school committee chair and you say, Berlin wants to be put on your agenda to discuss the budget. Then, if you get accepted to be put on the budget, then you can have the discourse. So maybe that's what we
Yeah.
need to do. It's a very
Yeah.
you're
That
right.
you could do. And they may waive that. This is the first time that,
Or have the hearing, and then at the end of the hearing, whatever that time is, open it up more specific to the finance committees.
So Scott, I
That
think
would
it would
be-
be useful for the school committee to hear what the finance committees has to say before they vote on what the budget's going to be.
Well-
So I think it would benefit everyone if the two finance committees spend some time together ahead of what will be the formal budget hearing and vote. But I don't know logistically how we want to do that. I just think the order
Yeah.
needs to be that way. And Scott, tell me if
In
you
fact,
think I'm crazy. But
well, I'm just looking through here. I mean, Boylston doesn't meet as frequently as we do as a finance committee. And let me just see. Let me see, their next meeting is, let's see,
I think that's a good
Let's see.
idea, Mary.
they meet
Well-
on March 6th.
Well, the
day
28th is,
before.
we've been playing with that date with the 28th, and maybe the FinCom people could do the 28th. We're talking to our select board that Monday, right? 27th.
No, they have a meeting on March 6th, the Boylston Finance Committee. So. I mean,
Oh, that's the
I'll-
day before the March
That's,
7th?
that's right. That's what their present posting is.
You
Eric
think they'd
said.
entertain us that day? Scott?
Well, that's I can ask if we can, and I guess what's our availability. He didn't say a time on here, but that would be on the Monday. So it's possible we could look at doing a joint meeting with them, and then being able to be on the agenda with the school committee the next day.
Yeah. I can speak to Mike about getting on the agenda, putting you guys on the agenda.
Okay.
I can do that. You want me to do that? Or do you want to
Yes.
first settle with Boylston and see if they can do?
Well, I'll let Eric know what we just found out tonight, and see. I'll let you know what it looks like here. And I don't even know if I even have the email addresses for the everybody on the school committee. Do you have just
I
one
can send it
general?
to you.
or- Yeah.
I'll email you. You want just the members, not?
It's on my town government.
Well, I can never rely on what's on my town government
I
for.
know.
School committee
Yeah.
isn't on my-
Do you have our email address? Because not FinCom we don't know where that goes to.
Oh, come on. Okay, someone has
No.
a password. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
No, I don't.
that goes
Probably not, yeah.
someplace
Buzz Harris.
else.
Hi, Buzz.
Who knows?
Somewhere, who knows? All right, yeah, send me, or Janet, you want to email me?
Oh, do you have her email address?
I have her email address.
Okay, why don't you just give us our
What do you
email?
want?
Well, give her
Just forward
our
our-
email
just
address.
forward our-
Yeah,
our
Yeah, give
forward
her
that, yeah.
our email addresses.
Just connect us up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
And I'm gonna, I'll connect, I'll sync you with Mike too. He's the chair. I think that's very good though, very good idea.
So it's under
Okay.
tri-school committees, just so you know, and it says see members below.
And
It might not be updated though.
subscribe and alert.
Yeah, that's a problem on
Yeah,
my town
I'm
government.
looking.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
getting
the
there.
This is another, those pockets of gaps,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's what we should do, feasibility study on. Gaps. Can you do that?
I think Kristen has her eye on it, but it's,
Yeah,
you-
Oh, you're right.
you know, we got, it's the resource thing. It's
Yeah,
the,
I know.
it's the whole
Is it
conversation
zero?
with the schools.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a-
Oh my
From
gosh.
Boylston,
Oh my
because they're on the
gosh.
27th.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, the school's.
You'd be more efficient if you can get from here to there, but getting from here to there is really
Yeah,
painful.
yeah.
Getting from here to there is really
Regional
It's on the
painful.
tri-committee
Yeah.
now.
And the
Right.
needs are just, they're so extensive.
But I don't see the
They're
members
So expensive, and
listed.
it's not as easy as, let's just get another
Look-
teacher in there. That's not it.
Look, Julie, if you want to think about progress, we're now with our second town administrator. That's progress.
I know
Things are
that's
so
true.
much more
That's true.
organized.
I was talking to Ann McKay today about progress.
Yeah,
Rack and
so
stuff.
much more
Yeah.
organized. Yeah, we're in much better place as a town.
Right, so it's progress.
Yeah, it's not
Just slow.
Yeah.
Since we opened up that, Scott opened up that school committee question. Have you seen the activity with the Massachusetts Association of School Committees
You mean on-
with respect to special education funding this year, right now?
Yes, yes, yes.
You've seen
yes,
that,
yes,
those
I have,
communications?
Yes, yes. I'm on
Okay.
that server, yeah. People are writing in and trying. I mean, the state, not to go right
Go to
in, but
the the
the state is just, they're just, nobody knows why this increase went to 14%.
Well, one of the big things
Well,
coming
they
too
do.
is, unfortunately, the state will never make any decisions anyways before we have to make our decisions.
And that's
And
everybody
it's good to see them talking about it, but one thing we can guarantee is nobody will, I mean, they'll be lucky if they get a budget done June 30th. And we'll have to have ours, town meeting May 1st. So as much as all of that stuff is good to continue to push on.
We still
and
have to
that
do the hard
stuff,
work.
we
Yeah,
cannot,
you
I
have to
can
do the hard
guarantee you,
work.
there's we can't rely on any of that for this fiscal year, unfortunately.
Well,
It'll be a miracle if, I
Actually-
mean, the governor's on vacation now when they can't give us a budget. So that tells you something,
That's such a shit.
right? I mean,
Well, it was set to happen early March
Yeah,
anyway,
but-
so the other thing, did you catch in that thread from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, the bit about people at the state level are looking at fiscal '24 funding on special education, because they realize we're in
Yeah.
crisis. We are not special, this district. Everybody.
Oh, no, everybody.
Everybody
Oh,
is
yes.
getting slammed with the same
Everyone's getting
crisis.
slammed with this, yeah.
So I'm with you, Scott. We have to do the hard work and do our budget as best we can. But I do think there's a little bit of this tiny crack of hope that we'll get in the fiscal '24 some relief on special ed. We just
Oh,
remains
because
to be seen.
everybody's experiencing
Because
it,
everybody's
yeah.
experiencing it, and it's the requirement comes from the state,
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Right.
Yeah.
but
yeah, it's,
don't worry, I'm
Yeah.
behind you. I'm not in la la land. I got it.
yeah, it's.
I know, it's just, it's awful, that special ed piece with the state just not helping. Just awful, awful.
Every citizen, every child here deserves an education.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and we just need to straighten out how we handle money here.
Yep, straighten out how you make that happen for these kids.
And I think that we need to stay in good conversation with the region. That's why I'm really excited to talk to the Boylston Finance
I
Committee
think that's great.
and to have the select boards talk to one another as well, because
Information from my brain.
if we can, if the schools can back off, we can actually do a negotiation here, we might be able to get
Yeah.
it through.
Should Carol go to that meeting? No. You want the schools not to be at the meeting?
I-
Like just Carol and Nancy? I mean,
But
we
more will
will-
be revealed on that
We
piece,
will,
I don't know.
we'll coordinate here on
Yeah.
what.
okay.
Yeah.
The next one of the questions will be here is, as I look at this, is if we do look at the March 6th to meet with Boylston, does anybody have conflicts?
That's a Monday.
Yes, it's a
Should be all
Monday,
right. Should be
March
all right.
6th.
Monday is okay, yeah, I think.
I have no idea what time it is.
Kristen
I'll find
wouldn't be
out.
able to go.
Kristen would not be able to go.
Not
okay.
if it is a select board meeting, no.
Okay, yeah.
Are they every week or every other week?
Every week, I think,
Yeah.
right now.
I think I can do it. I'm not positive.
Well,
It
minimum,
doesn't
we
look
want to make
right.
sure at least we have 3 people, so.
Okay.
You writing with a half pencil?
I came directly from a basketball game here, so
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
great.
have a pen.
But you came from a
This
golf
is
game. That
the-
looks like a golf pencil,
This
doesn't it?
is Pirates
Miniature
Cove.
golf.
Really golfing.
Should
Julie,
Yeah.
can you update our members, because we need to get Stan
Know
off.
that, Julie?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, update
Of
on,
the members.
Sure, you're just taking it right on.
I should update our members too, because they're probably not even updated. Can we do that? We can update?
Well, I just sent you an email. Are those the correct members? I can tell you who they are, but
Yeah, go ahead, tell me.
I moved on to a new topic here. Hold on, I'll
Oh,
find it.
committee, I see it.
So, it's Topman Chair,
That's correct.
then it's Megan Gill as
Yeah.
Vice, and Lori Ann Hart as District Clerk Secretary.
Yeah.
And then you and Jessica as committee, and Robert, all committee
He just
members.
resigned.
He just resigned.
Robert did.
Okay,
So that's, we have a Berlin seat that's,
okay, all right.
Vacant.
So other than
if
that.
anyone wants
and-
to join school committee.
And
So-
I will send you all our emails right now.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
technically, your next meeting then is February 27th, right?
February
Well, we're
27th.
scheduled for, I think, 28th, right? Is it
February 27th,
No.
10 a.m.
But that's the only one that's scheduled here on my town gov.
Are you talking about
That's
records?
what we say.
Berlin Boylston
Berlin
Regional
Boylston
Committee
Regional.
is scheduled for February 27th at 10 a.m.
Well, at 10 a.m.
10
That-
a.m.
That's so within our committee, our school committee, we have
That's
subcommittees.
subcommittees, yes.
That's a budget subcommittee meeting. Yep.
Okay. So that's just for like elementary school or just for?
No, that's just, so, no, there's Megan, the vice chair, sits on that, I sit on that, and then Carol and Nancy.
So
So,
is
because
that-
basically we were trying to make these, school committees more efficient, because they go 4 hours.
Yeah.
They still go 4 hours. But, so what we would do is we break off into subcommittees. We have a policy subcommittee, so anything goes to that subcommittee first and then gets brought to the main committee. So the budget we do on a smaller scale, and then it gets brought to
Okay.
the larger committee.
So that's the difference between the Berlin Boylston Regional School Committee versus the Tri?
That's correct, yep. That's why it's posted on there. And you should see policy subcommittee, there's technology subcommittee, superintendent evaluation subcommittee.
May I share your email with them?
Of course,
Okay.
yeah, of course.
I'm going to send that to you.
And I'll get
now.
right to that. I have a lot of work
That's
to
all
do. Thank God it's school vacation week. Oh, wait, the kids are home. I know,
It's almost over.
I know, it's almost over.
You're kind of funny.
No, this was really informative.
All right, thank you.
I hope I didn't take your whole meeting.
No,
No,
I was expecting to go
This
as
is-
fast as the other woman. That's fine.
It's
well,
a good try.
she is working the transfer station this week, so it's a late night for her.
That's true. That's so much. Listen,
Poor
thank you
thing.
all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Nice to see
I'm
you. Take
Gmail.
care.
Good luck with the paperwork.
Thank
You can do it. I know you can
appreciate
do it.
I have a deadline. I'm on.
You got a deadline. I knew she needed a
Okay.
deadline.
so Jan, I don't have access to I have access to one version of the website, the My Town Government. I don't have access to the other one.
It might be Scott that has to change that.
Which,
Stan's name just needs to come off.
which
Well,
what
James
website are you
James Wheeler
referring
can
to?
do
Could be
it,
Eloise,
guys.
too.
James
This
Wheeler
is the
can do it.
one. This is the one that I don't.
Yeah, I definitely do not have access to that.
James Wheeler.
I only
Is he
have what
down there?
you have access to.
Just account.
And James is in tonight.
Berlin.com.
They're open
Okay.
Wednesday evening, so you can just ask him to.
I'm going to do that right now.
Awesome.
Because if I wait,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
You said we'll wait on the meeting minutes till
Yeah.
next, okay.
yeah.
Mary, you're still charter?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to send Julie Lee everybody's email and include, I put it to and just put email so she has everybody.
Right.
So
Right.
you'll get hers as well.
I do use a Gmail account when
I
it's
knew
necessary.
that, that's why I asked you,
it's-
but
it's
you prefer
different.
this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can
Kristen
change-
likes it because it's Porter the lawyer, so she really likes that. She likes to use
you
it.
can change it if you'll get Julie's, and if you prefer a different email.
No,
you can-
I don't.
you
That's
can-
the one.
Okay.
That's the
All
one
right.
that I use for the town
Okay.
mostly.
No worries. I just didn't want to.
We just had trouble with Google Drive. Margaret and I did, and that was the fix, was to use my Gmail account.
Yeah, right.
So I keep them segregated for different purposes.
Okay. All right. So I just send Julie all our emails so she has it.
Yeah. If I want to
As
sue you, I'll be
requested.
sending you from the Gmail account.
Okay.
How's that?
Well,
Is that
that's
all right?
okay.
Yeah.
You won't get.
I don't want
much.
to do that.
You won't get much, but you can try.
Okay, I don't think we have anything more on the agenda. Was anything that, June, that you had that was
I have nothing. I was just here to
do Kristen's role?
yes, not all
We
of her
can't do
roles,
anything
but-
until our friend.
You know, you have a
Okay.
Vanna White-like look to you when you do that with the hands. That's really good.
Yep, that's all I
All
was
right.
here for.
Can we just look at next week? Because I'm
Yes.
a little confused. You're saying building means
The building
like building inspector, plumbing inspector, electrical inspector.
None of those will be coming in that I'm aware of. Most of those stuff is because they are in the revolving accounts on those
Okay.
other than the building. But as I'm expecting, it's only going to be Richard Hanks.
So building just means Richard Hanks.
Yeah, does he supervise those other departments, or those
No.
aren't anything to
Kind
do?
of.
Oh, yeah?
Well, there's expenses related to them, but there isn't any payroll. That's all going through the revolving now.
I'm chuckling at the second statement. FinCom completes feedback to departments. We haven't even talked about anything yet. And then boards and committees. So
Well, I mean, it's a
where are we
general-
at? We don't have any more boards or committees coming? Does anybody know?
That is the last one. So because those were the ones that were postponed when we postponed that, January 25th or that?
Yeah.
With the storm. So,
I understand what you're saying, but I'm still not getting the answer that I think I need in my brain. It says boards and committees. My question is, what boards and committees are coming other than building inspector? Are
it's
there any?
only the building inspector.
Okay, all right, that's-
That was just
okay.
added to the front of it, because
Okay.
the general plan
Got
was
it.
saying,
Okay, thank
complete
you.
feedback departments, boards and committees.
Gotcha.
But we'll see which ones that we can do feedback to. Obviously, the schools are
Mm-hmm. Yep.
when we made these plans, they throw a wrench
Mm-hmm.
into the works
I was going to
of.
say, I think until that's
Yeah, it's-
settled, it's going to be really hard to do an overall at this point.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because it's huge right now.
that's why
Yes.
I'd love to talk to Boylston sooner rather than later, because it'll help us in our
Yeah,
look at
It'd be really
things.
nice if it could be a group, even if it's just a budget workshop type thing, not necessarily a vote, but
Right.
at this point.
Scott, do you know if Kristen's working on getting some revenue numbers out of the school district?
I do not know if she is. On that.
You know, like Assabet gave us.
Yes.
I believe that was her plan, but I can double check with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know that we did forward a copy of the budget from last year, how they did the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
We did send that to them to see if there was a way that they could adjust it a little bit, so it's
Looks
As
more like last
revenues.
year. Yeah.
kind of, has a
Yeah.
little bit more detail in it.
Exactly, and also even just not removing things, even though it's not completely directly relevant, being like the Boylston Elementary School, but it was always useful to see, get a picture of
We need
our
the big
partner in this
picture.
whole
Yeah.
whole thing. It's
Yeah.
it is important understanding the revenue numbers of where's their breaking point, where's our breaking point.
Yep.
So, okay, anything else?
Julie's back.
I
Success?
think we're
Yes.
covered.
Awesome.
All right,
Motion to adjourn?
Minutes?
second that.
We're going to do this next
Next week? We're doing
Yeah.
this next week, okay. You need a second?
Yeah.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.